I've been at Google for 5.5 years. I'm a product manager there. I was responsible for Google Compute Engine, which is our infrastructure as a service offering that runs virtual machines on Google's infrastructure. After that project, I started the project called Kubernetes with a couple of engineers at Google, which launches containers on Google's infrastructure as a hosted service, but also is a standalone container orchestrator that runs in the multi-cloud world. And I was responsible for working with the Linux Foundation to stand up the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, which is intended to bring together and harmonize a full stack set of solutions for container management in the open source space. So containers have both solved a lot of existing problems that developers have had in terms of creating a very standard and systematic way to package and deploy software. So they've addressed a set of issues that developers have had for a long time around creating a very predictable and easy way to find, extend, reuse, and deploy technology. And it represents a great deal of hope for solving a lot of operational issues that developers have had. Beyond that, containers are also a gateway to cloud-native computing. They're a natural stepping stone en route to building and running infrastructure the way that companies like Google or Facebook do. And they're a natural technology to help solve the problems that enterprises face when building systems that run at internet scale. So I think that as a community, we've come to understand that the transition to containers is bigger than any single company, and that it's really necessary for us as a broader community to bring together all of the technologies necessarily to solve not only the deployment and management of applications in a container environment, but also the technologies necessary to monitor, log, manage, deploy, update, orchestrate, and sort of live with containers over time. And so one of the things I'm most excited about is seeing the community really come together and focus not only on some of the existing pieces of technology that are necessary to build applications the way they've built them historically, but also to provide the platform on which the next generation set of applications and application management paradigms will be built. And so Linux Foundation has been working with a number of companies, Google, IBM, Red Hat, and others, to pull together a pretty cohesive narrative around container standards for modern application management. So the Cloud Native Computing Foundation came about in part because Google created this project called Kubernetes, and it was very natural for us at a certain part of its life to take it to a software foundation. And we looked across the set of foundations that existed today, and from our perspective at least, none of them had a lot of the characteristics that we really felt were essential to building the most healthy and successful possible ecosystem out there. We wanted a foundation that had a strong sense of technical identity, that could really bring together and harmonize technologies without being tied to specific corporate interests. We wanted a foundation that would be self-sufficient and well-structured so that it could actually have good reach and sort of touch a lot of developers. We also wanted a foundation that was entirely accountable to the end users, where end users were as empowered as the vendors or the people that were building the technologies. And so given that we couldn't find a technology foundation that met all of those attributes, it made sense to create something new. And so in talking to our friends at Linux Foundation and then working with folks like Red Hat, IBM, Cisco, Intel, VMware, Docker, CoreOS, Mesosphere, and others, we came up with the idea to pull together a new foundation that was designed specifically to address some of the issues we'd seen in other software foundations, and to be a great home for Kubernetes and all of the related technologies that are necessary to pull together a full cloud computing stack. Well, obviously containers have been central to Google's way of operating since forever. Like everything inside Google runs inside containers. And I think one of the most discernible things that folks will see with containers with respect to Google is that it will become more and more central to a lot of the Google Cloud Platform offerings. So already App Engine, our platform as a service offering, is being positioned to be able to run Docker containers. We've created a new hosting solution called Google Container Engine, which runs those containers. And they're all very well and naturally integrated into Google Compute Engine, which is our VM-based offering. And so I think you'll see containers emerge as being a stronger standard for the packaging and distribution of software inside Google Cloud Platform. And I think you can expect to see us make it easier and easier to run containers the way that Google runs them. So providing a natural way for developers to provide a container and then relying on Google Cloud Platform to just deal with all of the operational and orchestration needs to make the container run the way that the developer intends it to run. I think the most exciting thing about Container World was really some of the hallway conversations I've had with people that are really deploying and using these technologies to address some of their business needs, and are thinking through, and they're having these cognitive sort of aha moments where they understand the impact that a transition to cloud-native computing paradigms and container-based packaging, really what it means to their business, how it's going to make things better and simpler for them. And so it's always wonderful to come to a venue like this and encounter not only the usual vendor crowd, because there's a lot of us who are doing the same thing, but also a lot of real-world people that are actually working with, experimenting, and using containers in production today, who can articulate the value proposition and share some of the experiences with people around.